Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Mitchell. I'm the Director of the Office of Energy System Planning and Performance at the New York State Department of Public Service. I've been designated to serve as the alternate representing the chair of the New York State Board on Electric Generation Siting and the Environment, or as it is also known, the Siting Board. I call this meeting of the Siting Board to order. Before moving to the agenda, I would like to introduce the alternates representing the permanent members of the Siting Board. When I call your name, please confirm that you are present. Kevin Malone, alternate representing the Commissioner of the Department of Health.
Present.
Mark Sanza, alternate representing the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Conservation.
Present.
Vincent Ravishir, alternate representing the Commissioner of the New York State Department of Economic Development.
Present.
And John Williams, alternate representing the Chair of the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority.
Present.
Secretary Phillips, are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Thank you. We will begin with Case 16-F-0205, application of Canisteo Wind Energy LLC for a Certificate of Environmental Compatibility and Public Need pursuant to Article 10 for construction of a wind energy project in Steuben County. Presented by Russell King, Assistant Counsel, Department of Public Service, Robert Rosenthal, General Counsel, Norina Chaudhry, Deputy Managing Attorney in the Office of General Counsel, Department of Public Service, and Jason Zaire, Chief Environmental Certification and Compliance, Department of Public Service, are available for questions. Mr. King, please begin.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chair Designee Mitchell and board members. Before you today is a draft order approving amendments and modifying certificate condition. On March 13th, 2020, the Siting Board granted Canisteo Wind Energy, LLC, a Certificate of Environmental Compatibility and Public Need for a 290.7 megawatt wind facility. On July 24th, 2024, Canisteo filed a petition for amendment requesting that the Siting Board amend certain aspects of its certificate. On November 20th and 21st, 2024, Canisteo supplemented that petition. On January 29, 2025, the Secretary issued a letter notifying Canisteo that the requested amendments are not expected to result in an increase in the environmental impacts as compared to the certified facility, and therefore do not constitute a revision warranting a hearing. In the petition, Canisteo requests 6 amendments. The first is to reduce the total capacity of the certified facility to 250 megawatts from its certified 290.7 megawatts. Second, to reduce the number of wind turbine generators from the authorized 117 to 66. Third, to change the facility layout and shift the locations of 13 turbines and associated access roads and collection line corridors. Fourth, to add an approximately 2,800-foot temporary access road. Fifth, to add 2 aircraft detection lighting system towers that are up to 125 feet tall. And 6th, to change Certificate Condition 9 to measure the certificate's expiration date from the issuance of the requested certificate amendment rather than the issuance of the certificate. Only this last request is a request to modify a certificate condition. The draft order before you grants Canisteo's requested amendments with 1 modification to Canisteo's request to amend Certificate Condition 9. The requested amendments will not result in a greater environmental impact as compared to the facility the board approved on March 13, 2020. For example, because there are fewer turbines and the facility is less extensive, the modified facility's impacts to threatened and endangered species and wetlands would decrease. This is not the case for all the amendments. For example, the modified facility would have noise and vibration and shadow flicker impacts beyond what the certificate allows. However, Canisteo has not requested an amendment of the relevant certificate conditions, and thus will need to demonstrate compliance with noise and vibration and shadow flicker limits. Canisteo acknowledged this and intends to meet its obligations with changes to operations and equipment, and by entering into agreements with impacted landowners. The draft order before you modifies Canisteo's request to change Certificate Condition 9, which states that the certificate expires 5 years from its issuance unless Canisteo has completed construction and commenced commercial operation. Canisteo requests that Certificate 9 instead expire 5 years from the issuance of the draft order before you. Instead, the draft order modifies Certificate Condition 9 to state that the certificate expires 10 years from the issuance of the original certificate, unless Canisteo has completed construction and commenced commercial operation. This is consistent with how the board has previously treated other projects, such as Alley Cat Wind Energy and Casadaga Wind. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I have no questions or comments. Let me turn to my fellow board members for any comments or questions. Mr. Malone,
No questions or comments.
Mr. Sanza,
No questions or comments.
Mr. Ravishir,
No questions or comments.
Mr. Williams.
No questions or comments.
I now call for a vote. My own vote is in favor of the recommendations as described. Mr. Malone, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Mr. Sanza,
I vote in favor.
Mr. Ravishir,
In favor.
Mr. Williams.
In favor.
The order is approved and the recommendations therein are adopted. Secretary Phillips, is there anything further to come before us today?
There is nothing further.
Thank you all. We are adjourned.